안녕하세요. 여보세요. 감사합니다. Okay, so the way I'm going to handle Twicecoaster lane 1 and 2, right? Because there's basically a lot of overlap. TT, Knock Knock, and 1 in a Million already have their own standalone reaction videos done. And so with the remaining tracks between the two albums, for lane 1, we'll do 1 to 10 Ponytail and Jelly Jelly. And then we'll switch lanes and go over to lane 2 for Pitter Pat, Next Page, and Ice Cream. And it seems to work out quite nicely, quite balanced there. We have 3 tracks from each one of these albums here. I'm just going to read this real quick just because it's kind of interesting, right? Twicecoaster Lane 1 was the 3rd EP by Twice. The EP was released digitally and physically on October 24, 2016. Okay, let's see. Consisting of 7 tracks, which features various genres, including I wanted to see if okay, so the reissue of the EP titled Twicecoaster Lane 2 was released on February 20th, 2017. Oh, okay, so there was actually like a good deal of time because November, December, January, so basically a whole quarter, and then Lane 2 was released. That is pretty interesting stuff. I'd have to look up more to really understand why, but let's get on the Twicecoaster, right? And let's check out 1 to 10.
Baby, I know, I know, baby. Baby, I know, baby. Twice. Ring ring, 네 전화에 하루를 나 시작할래. 이런 말도 안 되는 일이 어딨니? 이 두 너무 달콤해. 어떤 일이 더 완벽해? 네 목소리가 나올 때 말해줘 우리 그렇게. Yeah. Hey boy, 내 그거야. 다가와 속삭여줘. 어젯밤처럼 늦게 다가와줘. 1 to 10 너로 가득해. 하루 종일 널 생각해. 하나부터 10까지 다 나밖에 모르던 내가 1 to 10 날 설레게 해. 숨길 수 없게 덮어줘들어. 나부터 10까지 다 너에게 말하고 싶어. 나 그냥 네가 좋아 이유를 모르겠어. Tell me why baby. 그래서인지 더더 네가 궁금했어. Oh no, 단 네맘 잡아야 해. 넌 모른 척 그저 바라봐줘. 그렇게 날 보면 나 헤어날 수 없어. 헤어날 수 없어. 헤어날 수 없어. Say it 솔직하게 서로를 더 알 수 있게 말해줄게 난 내 맘 들어볼래. Oh, 1 to 10 너로 가득해. 하루 종일 널 생각해. 하나부터 10까지 다 나밖에 모르던 내가 1 to 10 날 설레게 해. 숨길 수 없게 다 빠져들어. 나부터 10까지 다 너에게
really nice sort of like R&B style song here. We got some percussion work that's what's essentially like your snare hit, the sound above the kick, right at the outro there and in the intro. Lots of 16th notes in there. A really good syncopation that doesn't really, it kind of skips some of those downbeats, but the way that the rhythms are grouped, the way those 16th notes are grouped, it's very intuitive, like where the downbeat is. So you can pretty quickly find the groove even at the beginning. There was a lot of use of panning in this track. The first verse there's those synth sort of rhythm section, right? That's chunking out the chords. The bum 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 bum, like that sound that's going on in the beginning. It would start, say, right and go bum bum, and then would pan left, bum bum bum, right, and then bum 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 bum. Like it kept playing with the left and the right in the panning. And then the vocals tended to do that also. There's a couple of sections in here where you'll hear the sort of rhythm or sort of backing vocal tracks. They'll start right and then switch left, and then come in left and then switch back to the right. Second verse changed up the synth rhythm that those chords and what that was doing with it was still keys. It was maybe like electric piano, something similar to that or close to that. It changed up the rhythm a little bit. There was some nice drum fills in the chorus section, right? Like the sort of right in the middle of it. It's a nice little indicator of the phrase structure where the first sort of half of the chorus phrasing ends. But it was really smooth, super smooth. Some impressive vocal melodies in there. First verse ended with this really sort of whippy, wild type of vocal lick in the lead vocal melody there, and then into quite a catchy chorus section. Like a really fun and busy mix for how laid back the track is. The panning effects, the switching back and forth between left and right is really like, I don't know how well, depending on what you're listening on, like if you're not using headphones, probably like there's some good car audio systems or whatever that you can still catch that. And if you have like a pretty decent speaker setup, or something where you have multiple speakers and you can actually set up a left and right stereo type of setup there, and you can really pick up on what's going on with the panning, and it makes it it makes it more fun. It keeps it much more like engaging, right? Because it's still a very smooth, laid back type of a R&B track, but that little the little inclusion of utilizing that left and right space there is what made it like really fun. It was interesting. It was an interesting song. Didn't know what to expect, you know what I mean? But it was a pleasant sound, really pleasant surprise. Okay, and I'm thinking like, okay, so after TT, and then into that tracks. Okay, it's not bad. That's it's a nice change up there as far as the style. Just that switching TTs. Also, it's very TT's a very cool track. Like it's another one of those Black Eyed Pilsung type of tracks. So the synth is quite significant in it. But it's a very fun track. It's a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more up tempo, especially the vocal rhythms. So going from TT into 1 to 10 is a nice transition, a real smooth type of sound that comes after that. Okay, so next track is Ponytail. Let's see.
젖은 어깨 자신 없는 표정 시작도 전에 너무 많은 걱정 Somebody say nobody care 어두웠던 내 맘의 sunshine 감사했던 네 안에 how we came 모두 다 perfect Ponytail 달려가 멈췄던 모험을 다시 시작해봐 자신 있게 고개를 들어 이젠 수심했다 걱정 따윈 날리고 Fairy tale 동화 속의 주인공들처럼 순수했던 마음 그대로 널 보여줘 Ponytail 겁먹지 마 마음 먹은 대로 do it I wanna know I wanna know yeah 짧지 마보다 핫한 너의 magic We gotta know we gotta know yeah Somebody say nobody care 어두웠던 내 맘의 sunshine 날 믿어주는 그대로 있다면 어디든 갈래 나를 깨워 너만이 Ponytail 달려가 멈췄던 모험을 다시 시작해봐 자신 있게 고개를 들어 이제 수심했다 걱정 따윈 날리고 Fairy tale 동화 속의 주인공들처럼 순수했던 마음 그대로 널 보여줘 Ponytail Ponytail 멀지 않은 곳에 있었던 기적 이제는 나를 지켜봐 주길 하얀 나훈아 그대 품에 안겨 외칠 거야 Hold on baby 잘 쉽지 않더라도 Let this mind be alright Be okay everything is gonna be alright Come on baby try 실패하더라도 Get it twice Be alright Be okay yes Ponytail 괜찮아 때론 실수하고 넘어져도 좋아 예쁜 얼굴 가리지 말고 이제 수심했다 걱정 따윈 날리고 Fairy tale 동화 속의 주인공들처럼 순수했던 마음 그대로 널 보여줘 Ponytail 너의 맘속에 귀 기울여봐 지금 너의 모습 그대로 널 보여줘 Ponytail 보여줘 Ponytail
Wow, that was totally in a different direction, man. Like, that was such an awesome track, dude. That was like, it was like hair metal almost. Like we're approaching like that, sort of 90s like metal sound of, there was, oh man, really, really awesome guitar work going on. We had little like riffs going on, these muted riffs with like a phaser effect on it, little licks and solos and stuff with high distortion on it, right? Some incredible bass lines too. So like there was some certain sections where the bass line really sort of stands out, and it's almost like Rush, like Geddy Lee bass like sounds and rhythms going on there. And the guitar work is really great, man. That nice ascending line, like I haven't heard that in a long time. I think I think it was probably like Led Zeppelin or somebody who did something like that first with Kashmir, but there's a lot of bands, Guns N' Roses, probably Motley Crue, sound like bands like that feature guitar riffs and chords and things along those lines. really like solid rock percussion. Also the that beat, boom ta boom ta boom, like it's really solid rock rhythms at work here in this entire mix, and everything was really fun, man. The sort of bridge section, there was like the rap section where some of the like the sound dropped out in the mix except for the guitar it was going on, and then there was that really nice like Eye of the Storm section where it was just the piano that was going on, right, and the vocal. It was like, oh man, it got very glam rock all of a sudden there. You sort of like, and then it brought everything back in. The rest of the mix came back in, the drums, the bass, and the guitar and everything, and really fun. Like, what a blast, what an awesome track, dude. Just the crazy guitar solo at the like the 16th notes, right? What are you doing? It's been a while since I've actually heard that sound, and this is making me think like this tour that's going on right now, like the live band, like this Ponytail live with the band. I mean, it's like made for it. It's like totally made for that. This is a really awesome song. But I was not expecting that at all, right? Like, oh my, okay, so from TT into this really smooth like R&B laid back groove of 1 to 10, and then all of a sudden double stops, bump, like, oh my goodness, dude, like it's crazy. That was really fun, dude. Ponytail is really cool. That was a blast. Okay. All right, the next track is Jelly. I like every I'm going through the albums now, and it's just like every time I hear an album, there's like this one song that's a B-side, but I'm like, oh dude, this is like the best thing ever. Like it happens with every single one, with every single album. But man, I don't know, it's like that's already Ponytail's already like a really strong contender for like best B-side off of Twicecoaster. But let's check out Jelly.
Oh jelly jelly, oh jelly jelly, oh jelly jelly, oh my boy. Oh jelly jelly, oh jelly jelly, oh jelly jelly, oh my boy. 요즘 나 왜 이런지 몰라. 나도 정말 내가 이해 안 가. Oh baby baby 나만 혼자. Oh baby baby
So maybe more of like an 80s pop type of feel to this one. I actually think this was quite a vocal centric type of a song, and of course everybody sounds incredible. Really, really nice. Throughout the verse and the chorus sections, the rap section, really, really nice vocal work being done here. With great rhythms, right? Great melodies. It's very like it was very sort of streamlined, concise, but again, a use of like double stop rhythms, boom boom tap tap boom boom tap, right? Nice, really excellent kick sound, bass sound. This is sounding much more digital, much more electronic. The rhythm parts see some sort of synth chords with like oscillator type of effect on it, this sort of sweeping distorted kind of effect on them, but a fun song overall, right? Like it's not as charged as Ponytail was with its like band sort of rock type of sound, but definitely still upbeat. Let's see. Oh, some really nice drum fills. There's a nice drum fill, like kind of right in the middle, maybe at the end of the second verse, somewhere around there. But it definitely has more of that pad sound in the percussion section. So it's like the electronic drums, or perhaps drum machine. Some hat rhythms in there sort of make me think drum machine, with really fast, but either 16 notes or 30-second notes, but extremely fast, extremely high tempo. But a really fun song again. So okay, it's a bit of a roller coaster, right? The album itself. So I'm thinking like, okay, TT into like, 1 to 10, into Ponytail, and then into Jelly Jelly. So it's fun. It's kind of, kind of takes you up and down and all around, for sure. I would say, well, 1 to 10 is like when the roller coaster is going up, ting, 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 right, and you reach the top, and then Ponytail is like coming back down, right, and then Jelly Jelly is like just sort of barrel rolling and whipping around sort of left and right, but very like moving forward now. It has a very driving sort of rhythm to it. And it's interesting. I'd say so far Ponytail really sort of stands out. Just the song as a whole, in general, you know what I mean? Just because of what it has going on, it's definitely like a standout track so far, right? And so, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch from lane 1 over to lane 2. Okay, the sort of part 2 for Twicecoaster, right? We're gonna go ahead and switch lanes, hop on over to lane 2, where we'll pick up with the Pitter Pat in the next page, and then Ice Cream, which, aside from like you switch out TT for Knock Knock, you add Ice Cream, and then that's essentially what lane 2 is. The difference between the two EPs, lane 1 and lane 2. So that's why it sort of works out really nicely for this purpose, and that way we can cover both EPs across two. It's a 2-part reaction, you know what I mean? So it's sort of like one, even though it's the 2, if that makes sense. But so far, Twicecoaster lane 1, it's really, really fun. It's a really, really fun time. So far Ponytail is the standout sort of track. Is just so I guess for me there's a lot of nostalgia there just because of the sound is, like I said, I haven't heard it in a while, but the album overall is like it's a great time so far. But let's switch lanes and go over to lane 2 and pick up with Pit a Pat there.